Hello, Grant.
Hey, it's good to see you, Hector.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah. We're hoping to work on some cool stuff today. Just from the past kind of things, I know Mr. Wiley kind of met with Patricia.
Yeah.
And things just kind of started looking in a good direction. So we're wondering, just trying to figure out and ask a lot of questions today and figure out where we can go with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Patricia spoke to us about Theotis, and she saw a lot of potential in him, and we're out here just trying to find the best candidate to represent our brand and someone that we can grow with as well. So I think Theotis could be a really good candidate for that. So we just wanted to hear more about him, let you guys know a little more about us, and see if it's a fit, and if we can both benefit mutually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thus far it's only been the brief little meeting with Patricia, but what are her thoughts so far? It's just
Patricia, she's always out, and she was at one of those youth camps and met Theotis, and she just recommended that we look more into into him as a player. He had a really good season last year, and we're just looking for someone that is growing and can be a role model for people that want to participate in our brand. We do have, like with anybody, we have concerns about every candidate that we consider.
Yeah.
But we're just hoping to find not necessarily the most qualified, but the one that can benefit from us as we grow with them as well. And Theotis, he's new to the league. He's, proving himself, and we feel like it could be a good opportunity as long as we can, both feel safe in this agreement.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, I believe in situations like these, gotta do what's best for both parties, and I feel like in this case we can definitely set up a good something that works for both of us, something that's in our best interests for both parties. When it comes to kind of working with Mr. Wiley, what would you say some of the top interests / concerns / what you're trying to work out,
Yeah. With all of our candidates, each candidate is different and individual in themselves. So we are looking for those individual qualities that make them unique.
Mm-hmm.
But some general things that we are really interested in is someone who is a role model, who's going to be a good influence on kids. We want them to participate in like youth camps and trainings and things like that, as well as be able to have progress in the league. We want someone who's going to be relevant now as well as in 2 years from now, and for us that's really important. I think the biggest thing is with Mr. Wiley, he brings a lot of unique qualities, but we want to make sure that he possesses those qualities to be a good role model for for our customers, because many of those are our kids. We're hoping to target not the high end adults who could drop $100 in a pair of shoes, but maybe the kids or the teenagers who maybe can't quite afford that.
Yeah.
So that's really our focus, is bringing them into basketball.
That's true. From what I know already about Patricia is that she's really passionate about the whole spirit of sports and how beneficial it can be. She's really excited to kind of give back to the community and kind of use sports to do that, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think it's a big part. Mr. Wiley, obviously, he loves it as well. They met at one of these things, and he's already willing he'd be more than on board of working with those types of groups and going to those events. I think it's especially hits home for him because of his upbringing, and he didn't have exactly the most luxurious lifestyle. It's
Sure.
actually pretty difficult. You know, his parents both died at a young age, and it obviously caused a lot of troubles for him, and that obviously led to a lot of difficulties.
Yeah.
A lot of problems, and the more I get to know him, the more I really realize that, you know, had I been in his shoes, I probably would have done basically the same thing. He was he's got a good head on him, you know. He's progressing and learning just like anybody, and I think his last year's performance is a good indication of his direction.
Mm-hmm.
And because if I were in your shoes, I would obviously be very hesitant about things like that. Because it can be very unpredictable in the future of what things can happen, taking other cases and other things that are happening in the industry maybe.
Yeah.
Where you just want to be prepared for you know, for anything that takes, but I can assure you that Mr. Wiley is on the right track and has tons of potential.
Yeah.
For where he's going.
Yeah, I agree. I think you know, anybody with that kind of upbringing, you know, you can expect there to be challenges and difficulties and things like that. And moving forward, you know, we're really not trying to take someone completely based on their past, but it does kind of make it a little more difficult. I don't know if if Theotis has other endorsements or sponsors or anything like that. Just from my experience in talking with other candidates, one of our main prerequisites is making sure that they had, you know, a good background, good social standing as far as like a representation of a brand.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was one of the reasons why we personally didn't think of Theotis in the first place, but with Patricia, you know, recommending him, we're like, we really want to take a look into it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you can understand that it could be a little difficult for us to kind of feel safe in an agreement, because we just want to make sure our brand is represented in a positive light.
Yeah.
Do you you said he's had a good year. Do you think any of his like past actions could have an impact on the way he's viewed now?
I think the way he's viewed now, for sure there's been I think it's very difficult for a player to escape a lot of stigmas and things that happen, but
Mm-hmm.
that goes for like a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think it's a very normal thing for them to be attached and hooked to these types of things. However, I feel like a lot of those fail to consider the kind of change in direction that a lot of people do take,
Mm-hmm.
and how that can be. I mean, it can be taken both ways, honestly, and like in your position, I would definitely feel the fear of that stigma kind of coming back to bite you, or in a sense. That's totally understandable. So I would actually, I think for sure the stigma will go away.
Yeah.
However, there's still things there. So the way some people kind of talk about his past, that they don't put him in the best of terms. You know, they don't shine the best light on him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a shame at the same time, because he really is. I think he's gonna make like he's already made you know the first year of the comeback, and I
Sure.
think he's only gonna get better at this point.
Yeah.
And America loves a redemption story, I guess, of just
Yeah.
somebody who kind of you know turn things around. And
For sure. I agree. I think with many of our candidates, we've been looking for someone that's already very established, you know, has that place, you know, in the league as well as kind of in like the pop culture kind of side of having that
Yeah.
that positive influence. I don't think Theotis is really there. I'm not sure if he'll really be there in the next couple of years either. I'm hopeful, but it's true. Like America does love a great redemption story, and
Yeah.
I think if he can keep on that path, you know, he can do great things, and we can do great things with both of you. Just out of curiosity, has Theotis taken any other like endorsements or partnered with any other brands currently, or has anybody reached out to him?
So he's on the verge.
Okay.
He is very close to striking other deals, and which is another pro for us to be able to enter into this deal, because it obviously, and these deals, they mark a lot of precedence for future deals,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the way he's going and his trajectory now is, you know, it's all kind of up, you know, it's just, and he's on the verge of striking another deal. It hasn't been fleshed out, you know, per se yet, but it's almost there.
Okay.
It's getting there.
So we'd be the first at making an offer to Theotis at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, we're happy to kind of, you know, see this move forward and
Yeah.
and see. What is your hope, and what does Theotis hope to get out of this? What's kind of his vision for partnering with us?
He feels that a lot of good can be done with the stance that Patricia kind of showed him of just working with the inner cities. That's probably one of the biggest hopes that he hopes to kind of give back.
Yeah.
And striking a deal would obviously, you know, be a great big plus to that. Me as his, you know, as representing him, I just want to make sure that he's treated fairly in his deals. I don't want him to be kind of I don't want him to be locked in something that will in the future, like now is, we'll work out, you know, the things now, but obviously this is a deal looking into the future and performance and maintaining a certain picture. I don't want him to be locked in that forever if he progresses past it, if that makes sense. I am completely convinced that he has all the potential in the world to be a world star athlete, to be one of the superstars of the NBA, and I would hope that his deals kind of reflect that. And not that he's like overpaid for sure. No, I want it to be fair for both parties.
Yeah.
You obviously have to be careful for the future of what happens. The deal should reflect that.
Yeah.
But my best interest is to make sure he's treated fairly and at least paid, you know, the average of what somebody in his stance would ideally be paid, you know, and as other signing deals similar to ours. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's great. I was really happy to hear. I took a little note of it that he wants to work with the inner cities and with the kids, and that's super important to us. So we're really happy to hear that, and we want to make sure both of you are compensated fairly as well.
Yeah.
You know, we do have our concerns, and moving forward, we definitely want to grow with you and Theotis. You know, things are going to be different, 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 10 years from now. And we want to make sure that as he not only grows as a player, because I see he's already got a great potential as a player, and that is just excellent. We do want to, however, see him grow and maintain his social standing with his teammates and his coaches, and I really think that it's going to take at least another 2 years in the league before we actually know who Theotis really is.
Yeah.
Because you know him better than I do, but history doesn't put him in the best light. But I do believe that people can change and we can have that redemption story.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Absolutely.
Just moving forward, do you or Theotis have any concerns about partnering with us specifically, or are you guys ready to kind of move forward and see what we can do as far as a partnership?
Ready to move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think we can definitely make something work here. We're really excited. We just want to, not only for our brand, but we see Theotis as a great athlete and a potential, great potential spokesperson, and we're going to help him grow into that over these next years. We were kind of thinking moving forward with about a 2-year contract to begin with. I don't know how you and Theotis would feel about that, or what that would entail for you.
I would. It would sound good. However, I would. I would appreciate, and he would appreciate very much also, if it would be 2 years for the chance in that deal to meet his potential of growth in that 2 years.
Okay.
If that makes sense. If it just, if his performance goes well and everything goes well, that he's able to be, starting off can be, I know you're unsure,
Sure.
kind of a rocky road at first because you don't know. So the beginning can be, can reflect that.
Okay.
However, as long as the potential's there, earning wise, after the 2 years or when the 2 years is nearly completed, that his performance is equal to what he's receiving.
Okay. So just so I understand correctly, after 2 years, if he's kind of shown he's on the right path as far as representing the brand and performing as a player, then making sure he's compensated in the future from there accordingly.
Yeah, well, about the 2 year things, I would feel a lot more comfortable if it were more to the quarterly, yearly kind of review. If that could reflect, because we could cut this all different types of ways.
Sure.
Of just in terms of how the kind of deal goes out, how he's being compensated, whether it's on a quarterly review and basis, or whether, but being paid one amount for just the first 2 years, I would feel more comfortable if there was at least somewhat of a contingency for growth in those 2 years.
Yeah.
Maybe a review at the 1 year mark to see how things are going, and to change the latter half.
Okay. Yeah, putting some contingencies could definitely be a possibility. I know from our company's standpoint, and I'm sure you've heard this from others, is we're all happy to put contingencies on it.
Yeah.
But we're not here to necessarily, excuse me, we're not here to babysit Theotis or make sure he's keeping the rules or doing this or doing that.
Yeah.
We really don't want to have to worry about that at all. We really want someone who is striving to be that spokesman for our brand and be the athlete that he can be.
Yeah.
So we're happy to put some contingencies on it, but I think we're more looking for after, his, how could I phrase this best? His past has kind of been in the past.
Yeah.
because I mean, you know, he's talked about, but I think he's still known for his past. We are looking for someone who's stable, is going to be with the team. You know, he did have some, you know, he swapped around to a couple of different schools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we are looking for someone who has an identity. Theotis, currently, I think he's building an identity, but I think that's going to take at least 2 years to do, as far as being with the team, having a new social standing, and letting the past be the past. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Would staying with the same team be a part of that, or?
I think staying with the same team could definitely add value to him.
Okay.
To show his commitment to, not necessarily commitment as far as we're looking for commitment in him, but as far as building a persona. You know, it's not necessarily like, oh, he's a graduate from this school. You know, he kind of doesn't really have an identity up till now until he kind of, you know, walked himself onto a team.
Yeah.
But as an athlete, like you said, he's proven himself. So we're really excited for that.
Yeah, it's I think he aligns perfectly with that, because he after his first year he was able to sign another 2-year contract with the same team, and obviously for the first year he was paid the lowest possible amount.
Sure. That's
growing to reflect obviously all the things that have happened. So in those 2 years, I feel like what would work best for Mr. Wiley is in order to keep things going and kind of keep the momentum of things kind of going. Obviously, it wouldn't be a good idea for y'all to kind of put this like large amount up front and kind of see how it goes from there. That wouldn't make much sense, but I feel like a decent little signing bonus for him to start off, and his I think quarterly would be okay for installments of continued good behavior over the 2 years, and then once the 2 years is done, we'll see where it goes from there. Just if everything works out, we can work out another deal to see if there's more shoes to be sold. But just we're laying the field right now and kind of seeing. In the research that I've done and the kind of industry average we're looking for, taking into account, you know, his past and trying to not be too harsh, I feel like it would be So over the course of those 2 years, I was thinking of quarterly installments of $600,000 for over the 2 years. So that. I said quarterly, right? I'm not insane.
Yeah, quarterly.
Quarterly would be 4 times a year over 2 years. Yeah. That would be the ideal, obviously, or compared to other players and other of reaching his potential. But we obviously there's room to change and to do all sorts of things in order to make you feel comfortable and work out the best deal. You know.
Okay. So 600,000 quarterly.
Yeah.
So that would be about 2.4 million a year, correct?
Yeah. Well, if it was 600,000 for sorry, I was doing those numbers.
Yeah.
So if it was
So annually, so 4 quarters.
yeah, times 4 would be 2.4.
Okay.
If you multiply by 2, it'd be 4.8.
Yeah.
However, I believe again, going back to what your interests are for the first year and the proving grounds, I believe this can obviously be adjusted to kind of reflect that.
Okay.
I know deals in the past can also sort of kind of included per unit sales,
Mhm.
also a contribution of that to kind of tie in any compensation in that way.
Yeah.
That's totally optional.
Sure.
If you want to go that route, but
Yeah.
but I think it's a good idea of what he's aiming for if his potential shows it.
Okay.
Because obviously, if things go south, I think particularly after the first year, if you're not comfortable with the way things are going, I think we can make adjustments as necessary. But I feel like this is a good way to take into account his full potential if he does, deliver and things go well. Yeah.
So contingency is kind of set aside, because I think those will definitely be a part of it either way.
Yeah.
I guess my concern is, how do I pay Mr. Wiley, $2.4 million a year, when I'm really unsure of how well the shoe sales for him will do?
Yes, the compensation should definitely compensate for that. If the shoe sales don't do it as well, I think for sure he should not be compensated the full amount. I think it should very much reflect that. So it could. So yeah, for in case for that, if we wanted to change more to kind of reflect the sales of the shoes, which obviously is very important.
Yeah.
We're both wanting this to succeed. We both want this to do as well as possible. To kind of take that into account, we could. I guess do a hybrid kind of thing where instead of 600 quarterly installments, we would go 350K in those quarterly installments, and let's say $1 per unit sold, depending. Do you have kind of projections of shoes that would be sold kind of in the first?
Yeah, we do. We do have some projections for certain kinds of players.
Yeah.
Theotis would be unique. I think he has the potential to do better, but I also think if things don't go well, he'd have the potential to do significantly worse as well.
Yeah.
So there is a risk there, but there is great potential there as well.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, it would be, I think it's definitely possible for Theotis to sell 200,000 pairs of shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a good goal for him. Do some people sell more? Yes. Do other people sell, less than that? Yeah.
It's a good average.
But I think 200,000 would be a reasonable, but it would be kind of like we'd need him to sell that many. On our end. That's kind of our hope.
Mm-hmm.
I think as time goes, as he proves himself as an athlete and shows his character, who he really is becoming, I believe that can increase as well.
Okay. So is the 200 over the course of 1 year or 2 years?
Over the course of 1 year.
That's a 1 year thing.
Or yeah, that would be over the course of 1 year.
Okay. And does the second year kind of look the same for that, or?
Yeah, I think we can expect the second year to, depending on how the first year goes, if year one goes well, I think we can see improvements in year two. If year one goes poorly, I think it could be about the same, or, from there it could go up, down, anywhere. I'm not really sure.
Absolutely. So, taking this into account. I think that's very reasonable. I think we're definitely in the ballpark of what we're kind of looking for. So if we were to kind of strike a deal of the 8 installments over the 2 years of 350,000 for every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
That brings it to 2.8
over 2 years.
Over 2 years, with the potential of, if we estimate 400K and over the 2 years for $1 per shoe sold, that's looking at 3.2 million. At the end, potentially. That this number can go up or down, but the 2.8 is kind of locked in.
So, you've got the 200,000 for year one and 200,000 for year two.
Yeah.
So that's 400,000.
Yeah.
For the both years.
Yeah.
Okay. So a total of 3.2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think that would be fair for Mr. Wiley. I think he would be very happy to do this deal. If there's any concerns or anything you would like, you would feel differently about, because we obviously want to set up a long-term relationship. We don't want this to be the first and only deal. We want.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to set up good, long-lasting relationships. So if anything were to be wrong now, we would gladly sacrifice,
Yeah.
for
the relationship.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely want to feel like both you and Theotis feel confident in, in our standing with you as well. I do have a couple concerns if you're okay with me expressing
go
them.
ahead.
I think for year one, we definitely want to kind of play it a little safer.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could place a contingency throughout the 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
if Theotis were to have any trouble with the law or things like that.
Absolutely.
That the contract could be terminated.
Okay.
And then, based on other factors like good standing with his teammates and coaches and things like that.
Yeah.
That could also alter the contract. I think we'd feel more comfortable going for year one, 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then for year two, if year one has gone extremely well, we'd still give him the 1 million, but then it would be we could give him the 800,000 bonus. So it'd be the same amount, just more on the back end.
Okay. That seems totally fair.
Yeah, and then as far as these, I mean, hopefully he does well, but for these first 2 years, we'd be willing to give him a royalty of $1, up to the 200,000 pairs of shoes for each year. So basically like a max of 400,000 for those years, and then after that, I'm sure we can renegotiate and maybe even move, these up if he's selling more shoes to make sure he gets paid for if he sells more.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel good about that.
Yeah.
I think. I think it's almost a sure thing. If I get to talking with Mr. Wiley, he would accept this deal. I'll be sure to be your advocate in explaining to him and to Mr. Wiley, and that this would be very beneficial for both of us. Along with this, we're gonna obviously keep the calendar and keep the schedule of visiting the kids and the youth and being able to help the brand image.
Yeah. I'll talk with Patricia on my end, and I think on our end, the only thing would be to make sure we have like the contingency set up for Mr. Wiley. But it sounds like he's very willing, and he's already on the right track to support youth and kind of change his public image, and we're really excited. We see great potential in him.
Awesome. I guess we'll write it up and have at it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks.
Perfect.